21 bill docket for Housing Subcommittee. Clerk will open the roll. Members will mark their attendance on the electronic voting board. Clerk will close the roll. A quorum is present, so we can start. Delegate Phillips, you've got two bills we can knock off, I think, fairly quickly. Which ones do you want to do first?
Let's do HB 1509. If that's okay, Mr. Chair.
All right, House Bill 1509. All right, this is on the Uniform Statewide Building Code. Now, I'm going to let you present your bill. I do want to tell you and folks here that it's been the policy, standing policy of this committee for a number of years to be very, very, very circumspect when it comes to regulating and legislating around the building code issues. But if you would go ahead and explain your bill, and then we'll decide what to do with it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Excuse me. HB 1509 basically looks to make the Uniform Code of Virginia actually uniform. States like North Carolina, Maryland, a lot of other states that, like particularly North Carolina, closer to where I live, a lot of people are contractors in both states, licensed in both states. In Virginia, a lot of times, you have 133 different interpretations, depending on which locality you're in. You have different permits, different fees, all these things that slow down and cost more to build houses. I build houses more on the side, not as my main job, but I just sold one, got another one under construction right now. So I see this from locality to locality. Many times, you can be in a locality that has a permit that the locality that you may normally build in does not. You may not find out about that permitting and that fee until after the fact. You end up having to pay a fine, things like that. I certainly don't want to legislate the building code. What I do want to do is make it more streamlined and more uniform across the Commonwealth, so you know exactly what you're getting into. The code should read what the code reads. If it says there's got to be 3 inches of fall the first 10 foot away from my house, that's what it ought to say, instead of the inspector having the latitude to say, well, I like 4 better.
Got it. Thank you. Appreciate that. As to whether we'll have this conversation, I'm sure, over and over again. But I do note on line 62 of your bill, you require the review board to prioritize recommendations in a certain order. So again, we're sort of legislating how they do their job. So that particular piece that would fall under that, again, do not touch area for us. Any other members have any questions for Delegate Phillips? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the bill, please come forward. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the bill, please come forward. By the way, for future reference, that is how quickly I will do it. If you're not up front ready to talk, you may miss your turn because we have a lot of bills to get through and not a lot of time. All right, committee operates by motion. Can I get a motion to carry this bill over to 2027?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. This bill will be carried over pursuant to Rule 22 to 2027. I know the chairman does like a bit of the part you have about the review board for exceptions and things like that. And Mr. Chairman may be inclined to send a letter to get this issues looked at. It's been moved and properly seconded. We carry this bill over. As many as favor that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. All right, that bill is continued to 2027 pursuant to Rule 2022. Delegate Phillips, you've got another bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HB 1057 would require the Department of Housing and Community Development to create the Virginia Rural Housing Infrastructure Fund and Program. That particular fund would be for infrastructure. What we see across the Commonwealth, but particularly in rural areas, is the cost of infrastructure is the impediment to new housing, of water, sewer, neighborhood roads, those things. The problem is many times in more rural communities, 50 homes might be a larger community for a new neighborhood versus larger areas of the state where it may be 500 homes. So those infrastructure costs, the cost to get water and sewer to that land, can be divided over 50 homes versus in a larger community it may be divided over 500 homes. So it has to have a little subsidy to make it be able to be viable in those communities. We are having a lot of economic growth thanks to a lot of good work by a lot of people, some of those in this room, the appropriation staff, MEI, different things like that. We have thousands of new jobs coming to Southern Virginia in the near future, and we need to have places for those people to live. So I think this fund would help us be able to get there.
All right. Anybody on the subcommittee have any questions on this bill? All right, seeing none, is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the bill? please come forward. There we go. Thank you for that, being right close, right next to the microphone. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Andrew Sinclair with the Virginia Chamber of Commerce. We support the bill. Housing supply and housing affordability are key issues that we're seeing across the Commonwealth and all regions, and we believe this fund goes a long way to be able to address those supply and affordability issues, and we appreciate the patron bringing the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Randy Gornbein, representing the Virginia Manufactured Modular Housing Association. We're in support of the bill.
Thank you. Anybody else here to speak in opposition to the bill? All right, so this would create a new fund and does a lot of new stuff. There's a lot of new words here, but the committee operates by motion.
Move to report.
Second. Substitute motion. All right, is there a second? Second. All right, it's been moved in second that we gently lay this bill on the table. Maybe come back next year. The clerk will open the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me.
Thank you, Delegate Phelps. All right, that bill is laid on the table by a vote of 4-2. All right, do we have any other patrons in the room? We've got Delegate Bennett Parker. Delegate Bennett Parker, you have a building code bill.
Mr. Chair, I have two bills.
Two bills,
before you. One was heard last week.
Oh, okay. So if I can get a motion, that bill was heard at our last meeting and is back before us. At the last meeting, we had moved to carry it over. I understand you've been able to do some work on it in the meantime, and we'll be closer to consensus. So if I have a member who voted on the prevailing side, which I think was all of us since it was a voice vote, move to reconsider that.
Having voted on the prevailing side by which we carried over House Bill 379, I move that we would reconsider that vote.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that House Bill 379 be reconsidered. As many as favor that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, the bill is back before us in amendable form. Delegate Bennett Parker, do you have further amendments?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have a substitute that's been available online since yesterday.
All right, is there a motion on the substitute?
Move the substitute. Second.
It's moved and properly second that we adopt the subcommittee substitute. As many as favor that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The substitute is properly before us. Delegate Bennett Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The substitute incorporates feedback from stakeholders, specifically it removes the section on adverse action and clarifies that only one application fee per applicant can charge for all comparable units under the same ownership in Virginia rather than for all units. The bill still brings basic transparency and fairness to the rental application process, reduces unnecessary costs for renters, encourages timely and transparent application review, and helps applicants identify and correct errors in screening reports. It's a practical step towards a fairer and more affordable rental process.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Delegate Bennett Parker? This is not a whole lot that's new. We've seen this before. So is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak on the amended bill in support or in support? Oh, come forward. Again, if you spoke in support of the whole bill last time, I guess what I'm asking is, we heard everybody in support and opposed before. Delegate Bennett Parker, you said that this bill gets us closer to consensus. Is there anybody who was opposed before who's for it now, or was neutral before who's for it now? All right, is anybody opposed to the bill in its current form? Come forward. Come forward.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I didn't walk fast enough, but I'm not opposed. We're still working on it, working with Delegate Bennett Parker, and appreciate her working with us. We're super, super, super close. I just need the okay from my organization. So would move to recommend continuing this. Thank you.
All right. So again, we heard all the support and before. It sounds like they're close to peace in the valley to keep this going, and given where we are in the session, I would entertain a motion so that we can again
Move to report with substitute.
All right, move and report to the substitute. Again, we'll keep this going. I'm sure you'll continue to have the conversations with the stakeholders as we go forward through the process, but this keeps it alive and not till next year. All right, the clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. The bill reports by a vote of 5-2. All right, thank you. Delegate Bennett Parker, you have another bill.
I do, Mr. Chair. Thank you. This is House Bill 377. And this bill would require the Board of Housing and Community Development to adopt energy efficiency standards that are at least as strong as the International Energy Conservation Code standards within 18 months of publication. The International Energy Conservation Code, or IECC, is a model building code developed by the International Code Council that sets minimum energy efficiency standards for new and renovated residential and commercial buildings. The International Code Council is the same body that develops the International Building Code, Fire Code, Plumbing Code, and more through a consensus process. In Virginia, we last fully implemented the IECC in 2009. This means that Virginia is 17 years behind when it comes to reducing energy costs for residents and improving energy efficiency. The bill does not write the building code. The bill sets Virginia's recognized model code as the baseline for efficiency standards, but it expressly permits BHCD to modify or add efficiency standards as long as they are at least as energy efficient as the IECC. The bill would save money and improve affordability for residents while also reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. Adopting the 2021 and 2024 IECC updates would reduce energy costs for Virginians by almost $12,000 per home, even after accounting for added mortgage costs. Because while there is a one-time incremental cost, doing this at the time of construction is the cheapest time, and the cost savings persist over time. In 2024, HUD and USDA found that requiring the 2021 or 2024 IECC will not negatively impact the purchase affordability or availability of covered housing. The 2021 IEC would also reduce Virginia's residential energy use by 17.9% compared to our current code. The cheapest form of energy is the energy we don't use, and as you know, we're in a supply and demand mismatch in the energy market that is raising energy prices. We need to use energy efficiency standards to reduce costs for Virginians and address our energy crisis. I hope you'll recommend reporting the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from members of the subcommittee for Delegate Bennett Parker? All right.
Mr.
Delegate
Chair.
Austin.
Question to patron. What has been the answers as to why it's taken so long to get the new code updated?
Mr. Chair.
Implemented, I'm
Sorry?
sorry. Not just updated, but in place, implemented.
Mr. Chair, to the delegate, I would say that from folks working on energy efficiency proposals, I've heard that the building code process in Virginia allows one person to stop progress, and so that has impacted a number of proposals moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for
you.
this good bill.
Mr. Chair, I may have an amendment, a substitute,
Is there a substitute?
according to council. Yes.
Is there a motion on the substitute?
Move the substitute.
It's moved and seconded that we adopt a subcommittee substitute. As many as favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. All right, the substitute's before us. I'm going to wait for it to come up online for just a second. In the meantime, I know there are a lot of folks here to speak in favor of the bill, so anybody here in the room to speak in favor, please come forward. I'm going to try not to put a clock on y'all, but if you could please keep your remarks brief, I would appreciate it.
Good evening. I appreciate the time for the committee. The City of Alexandria supports House Bill 377. I'm the Vice Mayor from the City of Alexandria. This bill matters because Virginia is facing a looming energy generation challenge. Dominion Energy has indicated that the Commonwealth may need to nearly double its generating capacity over the next 20 years to meet rising demand. Energy codes designed to ensure that new buildings are used energy as efficiently as practical are among the most cost-effective tools we have to reduce strain on the grid and lower the risk of future power shortages and blackouts. And with that, we ask you to consider and pass along this bill, and we thank the patron for carrying it.
Thank you for that. That was excellent testimony.
Mr. Chairman.
That's about the right length everybody should shoot for. Go ahead.
Members of the subcommittee, Bob Shippey with Sierra Club. Appreciate the patron bringing this bill, and also Delegate Guzman and Delegate Lopez and Delegate Carr for co-sponsoring. This is really a clarification of a bill that passed in 2021 through this body. Mr. Chairman, you actually helped write that HB 2227, which said that the board should do this. They haven't been doing this. So this is just a little bit more forceful language to make sure we get the benefits that the delegate spoke of. There have been numerous independent analyses of each of the triennial codes, and they've all shown that that small incremental additional expense up front is immediately overwhelmed by the cost savings of utility bills month to month. So without further ado, I really hope that you, and I think there might be a fizz on this. There should not be. There's no additional work that comes from this bill. If that was because of the 18-month time frame that was put on it, perhaps to Delegate Austin's point about timeliness, I think the delegate would accept a friendly amendment to take that off. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, Blair Sandledger Olson with Virginia LCD, and we support the bill. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, Lena Lewis with the Nature Conservancy. We support this bill. The cheapest, cleanest energy is the energy never generated, and the cheapest time to make a building energy efficient is when it's being built. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else in the room wishing to speak in favor? All right, anybody wishing to speak in opposition to the bill, please come forward.
Mr. Chairman, Andrew Clark with the Home Builders Association of Virginia. You started off the meeting talking about legislating the building code, and I think one of our concerns, big concern, is every year we'll see, I think, groups come in to try to insert, electrical provisions, heating and cooling provisions that aren't emergency regulations, and other things that really impact the cost of housing. I did want to clarify a statement made earlier, and Virginia is not on the 2009 International Energy Code. We're on the 2018 International Energy Code. We're working towards, with a lot of the groups that are in favor of this, on the next iteration of our code, which will probably get us pretty close, if not at the 2021 International Energy Code. And so Virginia, it does make considerable progress every year on our codes. We work with the stakeholders just kind of on the implementation of this bill, which is, I think, important. And Virginia does this relatively fast compared to other states, a 30-month process in Virginia. This would cut that down to about 18 months. When the ICC first adopts their international code.
If you could speak up a little bit or down
Yeah,
to the mic, I know it's a little bit low for you, but.
When the ICC first adopts their code, what Virginia gets and all states get is a book of the 2024 International Energy Code. Has no context with Virginia amendments, and so for 6, 7, 8 months, staff at DHCD has to review that book, overlay it with Virginia's amendments, and try to align it and fix all those inconsistencies. And then I'll close. I know there's other speakers here. Virginia's process does have stakeholders involved. If you kind of align this with the timing of the ICC proposal and then 18 months, you're effectively shortcutting and only allowing for several stakeholder meetings to kind of work on proposals. So we're concerned this would kind of shortcut and actually maybe even stifle some trying to compromise during the code development process. I'm happy to answer questions. It's an incredibly complex kind of process that we have here, but Virginia is nationally recognized for how we adopt our codes. So
If you want to stand by close, we might have questions afterwards, but let's hear from everybody. Other folks wishing to speak in opposition to the bill?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Joel Andrus on behalf of the Virginia Building Code Officials Association, echoing the comments of Mr. Clark. I'd also add that, we like to bring a lot of stakeholders in. We have no position on, certainly what the energy efficiency standards are, but do want to protect the process. And as always, anything that we can do as an association organization to help facilitate those conversations, we're always happy to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Randy Grumbine, representing the factory build industry. We associate our comments with Mr. Clark, and we think that the process in Virginia is working. It gives all the stakeholders a say in the adoption process, and we just want to let that process play out.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Bisma Ahmed with the Apartment and Office Building Association and Virginia Apartment Management Association associate our comments with Mr. Clark as well. And as a policy, we don't like to legislate the building code, and so that's our opposition. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, online we've got some folks wishing to speak in favor of the bill. Kathy Hoekstra.
So, good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Kathy Hoekstra. I'm asking that you support this bill. Energy efficiency is critical as we experience more crazy weather with wild swings in temperature. Energy efficient homes are more comfortable, they're healthier with lower energy bills, making them more affordable. In Alexandria, this bill could reduce energy bills by up to $200 a month. It's time for Virginia to be competitive in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast when it comes to energy efficient homes. I hope you will recognize the importance of energy efficiency in making our homes more affordable and support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. William Penniman.
Thank you. I speak based on having participated in the building code process I'm in the third cycle of it. And based on that experience, I can say with confidence that Virginia needs HB 3677. The board last fully implemented the IECC in 2009, and Virginia's code remains behind the 2012 IECC in key respects. Falling behind has cost homeowners, whether they are tenants or homeowners, the large amounts of money, less comfort, and in a less healthy house. This bill does not write building codes. It is not legislating a building code. It's simply confirming what existing law says, which says that the code should be at least consistent with, or at least as stringent as, the IECC. So this recognizes that floor, at least as stringent as the IECC, but allows the board and the parties to change it any way they do, as long as the outcome remains the same. There has been consistent line of decisions by federal agencies that have confirmed that every IECC update since 2012, including 2012, would improve housing affordability with energy savings exceeding mortgages and other purchase costs for the life of a 30-year mortgage and beyond. By the way, the 2024 IECC actually reduces construction costs compared to the 2021. The HUD and USDA, after a lengthy rulemaking, found that cash flows are extremely favorable for all types of housing covered by the IECC, single family and multifamily, under the 2021 or 2024, for both life cycle over the 30-year period or longer, as well as for first-year savings. In all cases, annual energy savings would exceed the cost of debt services. So it is economical, and the HUD and USDA also said it would not be a barrier to purchases of new homes because the impact of efficiency measures is very low compared to the price of a house. In any event, this is a bill that should be passed. It will protect residents for decades ahead, better than the current situation.
Thank you, Mr. Penniman. Thank you very much for your testimony. I appreciate it. All right, Mr. Clark, can you answer a quick question for me? So I've heard a number of different numbers about where we are as far as adopting the energy efficiency code. I know you sit on a lot of these boards and a lot of these work groups and things. Where are we in Virginia? Are we in 2009? Are we in 2018? Are we in 2012? What are we doing? Where are we?
Mr. Chairman, US DOE says we are at 2018 equivalent. So we've actually extended beyond the 2018 International Energy Code, close to 2021, but for their ranking rating system, we're at the 2018 IECC. Now we're in the middle of a code development process right now. We just wrapped up the final hearings right before session, so I had flashbacks to some of the testimony, but we're going to make even more improvements in that. So, but that's a US DOE number, 2018.
And do you see, Mr. Clark, any downside to having to, I know you talked about how it interrupted your process. Is there, would working to make sure we were keeping up with the most recent one, does that prevent you from looking forward and working to get ahead of the curve on this?
I think it does, just from a process standpoint. You've essentially condensed a 30-month process into 18 months, 8 to 9 of which staff doesn't even have how that overlays with it. I also want to note that this bill itself would just update the International Energy Code. There are 14 other code books that interplay with that International Energy Code, and so you've essentially kind of done dual tracks. And so to your question about kind of how that affects the process, I think if I'm thinking about the condensed time frame, we often pull forward building code proposals that are being considered at the national level down to Virginia, whether it's energy or anything else. I guess this says it may be more stringent. Sometimes proposals aren't more stringent, but they're clarifying. And so I don't know how that plays in this. I guess I'd have to read it through it more, but the process is built around consensus among stakeholders and looking at what's being considered at the national level to get ahead of it and then maintain. So, Virginia does keep pace with most of the states, especially along the East Coast.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark. All right, any other questions for the bill patron or anyone from members of the subcommittee? All right, so I've heard the process piece, and I will tell you that we have a bill coming up a little bit further down in our docket, which I think will make some big improvements to the process. I know this issue of a single holdout kind of disrupting things and slowing things down has been a big problem. I share some of the frustration with a lot of the folks that testify. This is like my least favorite day of Housing Sub, I have to tell you, when we deal with these building codes. I really share a lot of the goals of the proponents of doing it, but I also have been very reticent to sort of breach that wall and start to allow the General Assembly to insert itself too much into what we think the building code officials ought to be doing. I think it's something we need to leave to the professionals that do the building code work and the stakeholders. And I know that it's frustrating, the pace is frustrating. I think we have some ideas for how to speed it up, and I'd like to work on those over the year. So if there's a motion to carry this bill over so we can continue to have this out there and see if some of the reforms we're going to make to the process don't help, we'd still have this bill available as a tool to use in the future.
Mr. Chairman, I move to carry over.
Yep.
Move to carry the bill over.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, so moved and second, we carry this bill over pursuant to Rule 22, keeps it alive. If the bills that we were having to work with the process don't work, we still have this available as a tool to us. As many as favor that motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
All right, the ayes have it. The bill is carried over pursuant to Rule 22. Thank you, Delegate Bennett Parker. Thank you to everyone who testified. We got some bills I want to take. Yeah, let's dispose of a couple so if people are waiting around. So House Bill 464, at the request of the patrons, is going to be passed by for the day, along with House Bill 735, both at the request of the patron. Can I get a motion to pass those bills by for the day? So moved and probably saying those bills go by for the day. As many as fair, that motion will say aye. Those opposed? All right, those bills are by for the day. If you were waiting around to testify on those bills, you don't need to anymore. Delegate McClure, I see you're sitting in the front row. If you're not in the front row, I see Delegate Pope Adams. Move on up to the front row. We'll get you heard. Delegate McClure.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have HB 527, and I also have an amendment in the nature of a substitute.
It's been moved and seconded. We adopt the substitute. As many as favor that motion will say aye. Those opposed, the substitute is before us. Delegate McClure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the substitute simply clarifies that the program is an expansion of the existing program, as well as including additional data requirements in the reports to the General Assembly on how many children and families are being served by the program each year. Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, HB 527 would codify Virginia's eviction reduction program, otherwise known as VERP, so that it can be transformed into a permanent statutory program. Since 2020, the VERP has been administered annually by DHCD, and DHCD distributes these funds to local and regional nonprofits that use them to pay for rent and other necessities for low-income families in order to prevent evictions even before a case has been filed with the courts. Mr. Chairman, HB 527, would this bill, these efforts would continue and expand across the Commonwealth. Currently, there's only enough funds for the program to operate in 4 areas of the state: Southwest Virginia, Hampton Roads, Middle Peninsula, and Southside Virginia. Making VERP permanent will lay the foundation to expand this assistance to some of the most vulnerable families to eviction and expand into Northern Virginia and the Richmond region. This bill is also part of the administration's affordability agenda. Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, it is my hope that you would report HB 527.
All right. Are there any questions from Delegate McClure about this administration-supported bill? All right. Is there anybody here in opposition to the bill? All right. Seeing no one in opposition to the bill, anybody here in support of the bill, please stand up. Thank you. Does anybody feel a burning desire to try and talk us out of passing this bill? All right. Committee operates by motion. It's been moved and seconded the bill be reported and referred to the appropriations with substitute, because we have a letter. That was the motion, right? That's what I thought I heard. All right. It is properly seconded. The clerk will open the roll. All right, the clerk will close the roll. A bill reports and refers to appropriations with substitute by a vote of 6-1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee.
All right, Delegate Pope Adams, followed by Delegate Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the subcommittee, I also have a substitute.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the subcommittee substitute. As many as favor of that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the substitute is before us. Delegate Pope Adams, House Bill 1178.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last year, Chapter 24.2 septic system inspectors was added to Title 59.1, and there have been some unintended consequences. So HB 1178 was brought to me by the realtors, and this substitute is a scaled back version of the original bill, and it now focuses on just what are the 4 biggest issues that have arisen over the past year. I could go over all 4, or I could defer to the realtors, or for the sake of time, you can let me know the pleasure of the subcommittee.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Delegate Pope? Substitute is available online. You might have to refresh, but I've got it. While we're waiting for everybody to refresh, anybody here wishing to speak in favor of the bill, please come forward, and maybe you could flesh out this testimony just a little bit, but not a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Erin Corman with the Realtors. As the delegate mentioned, this is a very scaled back version of the original bill. There are 4 changes made to the existing code language in this bill. The first is to the definition of readily accessible. Our members were experiencing issues with some confusion about the standard of practice versus what the actual words in the code said. And so this language would clarify that readily accessible does not include digging below 30 inches to access ports or distribution boxes. Again, the language without the risk of damage to any property still exists in the code. The reason we chose 30 inches is because it says in the Department of Health regulations that anything below 30 inches should have an access port. Okay. The next change is to the existing code language saying that a report has to be issued within 10 days, and we just clarified that that's 10 days from the beginning of the inspection. We added a requirement that the inspection report should state whether the system is operating as intended as of the date of the inspection, and we struck the language with respect to the multiple listing service. And those are the only 4 changes in the bill.
All right. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition to the bill, please come forward.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Chairman, committee members. My name's Joel Penix. I'm a licensed engineer, licensed operator, and licensed installer. I have over 40 years of experience in real property improvements and over 20 years of experience specific to on-site wastewater systems. Traditionally, the General Assembly enacts enabling legislation and assigns regulatory authority to an appropriate board, most often within DPOR, to establish licensure requirements and performance standards through the Administrative Process Act. This proven model is used for professions such as real estate, engineering, home inspection, on-site wastewater professionals, and contractors. In this case, the bill assigns no regulatory body to oversee inspection performance. Neither DPOR, the Virginia Department of Health, nor any other board is given authority to establish standards, receive complaints, and I emphasize that, receive complaints, or enforce compliance. Without a regulatory board, disputes would be resolved through the courts rather than through a regulatory process.
I'm sorry. There's specific concerns you have with this bill. I understand you got some process concerns, and I know there's a debate about whether we should be licensing septic inspectors or not. We use authorized, and that's I hate to interrupt, but that's a sort of a different discussion for another day. I understand, are there particular items in this bill that you have specific concerns about?
Well, I'm at a disadvantage because I didn't see the substitute.
Understood.
Right, so I'm kind of speaking to the original bill.
Okay. Would you like a few minutes? We can go by temporarily and we can make sure you get a copy of it. Again, I just don't, I want to value your time, but also we have a very busy docket, so.
I'll just sum up then,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
I think this bill should be referred to somebody like the Virginia Housing Commission for further study. There are other stakeholders involved. There's a lot of issues here, and you don't want to leave the courts up to decide what the words mean, what the bill means. And again, I'll say this, there's no avenue to receive complaints to a regulatory board.
Understood.
So I oppose this bill.
Understood. Thank you. And I do say to everybody, to the patron and to others, I certainly understand that concern. I wish that maybe we had done that last year when this bill was first enacted. I think that there's a lot of validity to what you have to say, and what the gentleman has to say. The problem is now we're stuck with a bill that's not really workable in real life. And so what I think we've tried to do is take as light a touch as possible to what we've done before to kind of fix what happened last year. And I think probably this is an issue that, without referring your bill necessarily, but an issue that the Housing Commission ought to look at further to see if there are more refinements. I'm afraid that, again, because we didn't go through this at the Housing Commission before we adopted last year's regulations, I think your fixes are necessary to sort of mitigate the damage. But I think I agree with the gentleman that we ought to look at how we do septic inspections because it is sort of a wild, wild west, which is, I think, where the original bill was trying to get to. All right, any questions from members of the subcommittee? Any other commentary? All right. Does this have a letter? Does it have a letter? All right.
Move to report with substitute.
Second. It's been moved and second to report with substitute. Clerk will open the roll. Members can cast their votes. Clerk will close the roll. Bill reports by a vote of 7-1.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Delegate Pope Adams. All right. One more pass by. Okay. Also, if you are here for House Bill 1415 from Delegate Schmidt, that bill is going to go by for the day. So can I get a motion to take House Bill 1415 by for the day? Moved and second to take House Bill 1415 by for the day. As many as favor of that motion will say aye. Aye. Thank you. That's what comes next. Those opposed, no. All right. The motion carries. That bill's by for the day. So if that's the only reason you're here, 1415, you are free to go. Delegate Williams.
Yes, Mr. Chair and committee, I've got a few professional experts with us here to present to you what I believe is a very important bill. Come on up, gentlemen. So today, I'm before you on behalf of myself, Delegate Josh Cole, Delegate Hillary Pugh Kent, and Delegate Leslie Chambers Mehta, because this is a bipartisan effort. It's not just a political issue, it's actually a public health emergency that we're seeing develop across the nation. I'd like to introduce the panel we've got before you today. I have Bob Durkin. He's an attorney and former deputy director at the FDA under President Obama. He brings decades of regulatory expertise and firsthand knowledge of how federal agencies approach botanical products. I've got John Schinholzer. He is the founder of the McShin Foundation here in Richmond. It is one of the largest peer-driven recovery community organizations in the country. He has spent years on the front lines of the addiction crisis, helping thousands of Virginians find pathways to recovery. I've got John McAdow, representing the American Kratom Association, the leading national...
We give them a chance to talk, they can introduce themselves. We give them a chance to talk and they can introduce themselves. Wouldn't that speed it up so we're not doing it twice?
Yep,
okay.
I can do that.
So if you want to get into your testimony and then...
Now, I just have Mr. David Reynolds. He's a manufacturer here in Richmond.
All right.
And I'm going to let them talk because they know more than me. Thank
All right.
you.
Anybody have any questions for Delegate Williams? All right. Those are here speaking in favor of the bill, please come forward, introduce yourself briefly, although we've heard of some who you are. And if you could keep your remarks relatively brief, we'd appreciate it because we have a long docket to get to tonight.
Mr. Chairman, Subcommittee, thank you for your time. My name is Bob Durkin. I'm an attorney. I represent a lot of clients in the food space. Manufacturers of dietary supplements, distributors of dietary supplements, some of which contain kratom. I'm also a pharmacist with a master's degree in molecular biology. I was a captain in the Army for 6 years. And for 12 years, I worked at the Food and Drug Administration, the last 6 of which was as the Deputy Director of the Office of Dietary Supplement Programs. We mentioned kratom. Kratom is a natural botanical. It's a leaf. It can be sold as a dietary supplement in food. Kratom is not an opioid. What is not kratom is this thing called 7-OH, 7-hydroxymetragenine. 7-hydroxymetragenine is a chemical man-made compound. It's a full opioid agonist. What this means is it goes through your body, it goes to your brain, and it attaches to the same receptors as morphine and heroin. It attaches to these receptors. It's been shown to cause respiratory depression. It's been shown to cause euphoria. The thing is, when it binds to that receptor, it binds 15 times more strongly than morphine and heroin. There have been cases of respiratory depression. There have been people that have adverse events. People have been relieved and recovered off of naloxone. That makes 7-hydroxy an opioid. Right now, the state of Florida has scheduled 7-hydroxy. They've banned it. The state of Kentucky is thinking about doing it. California Department of Public Health has started a campaign to use their authority to eradicate 7-hydroxymetrageny. Right now, unscrupulous players are selling 7-hydroxymetrageny in formulations that include nasal sprays, sublingual tablets, and inhalers, vapes. What this does is it bypasses the stomach, it bypasses the liver, it goes right past first-pass metabolism and becomes available for absorption into the brain. 7-hydroxymetrageny is likely hurting people and killing people.
How does this bill fix that problem?
I beg your pardon, sir?
How does this bill fix that problem?
This bill bans 7-hydroxymetrageny, and it doesn't allow it in your state. It's very crisp. It's very clean.
Gotcha.
To that point, as a former regulator, as a pharmacist, as a father, I implore you to use your regulatory authority to ban this dangerous substance, protect the public health, protect your consumers.
All right. Thank you.
I'm happy to answer any questions or have a dialogue. Just
all right.
Thank you.
All right. If everybody would come up and we don't need to repeat each other, if you'd introduce yourself and tell us your position on the bill.
I'm John Shenholzer, co-founder of McShin. I've been cleaning sober 43 years, been in this space 43 years. 7-OH is bad. Synthetic products are bad. This bill bans them, gets them out the marketplace. I support the bill.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Matt Cowder with the American Kratom Association. The FDA has taken a position strongly to get rid of 7-OH products. What happens with a Virginian today, they can go down the street and they can buy these products, which masquerade as Kratom products. The difference in these products is, and this one's called Perks, you can imagine why that's called that, these are sublingual strips. And as you heard here just a minute ago, these go right to your brain. Within 5 minutes, you feel the effects of these. It lasts for 2 hours. They're highly addictive. You have to go back to get more of them. That's not the profile of natural leaf kratom. These products are dangerous. They are addicting people and they are killing people. And it is critical that we not spend another minute other than banning them here in the state of Virginia. We strongly support the ban on 7-OH. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my name is David Reynolds. I own and operate a supplement manufacturing facility here in Richmond, employ about 50 people. In favor of the bill, I would strengthen the Consumer Protection Act and get this dangerous product out of Virginia. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Drew DeStanislow. I'm an attorney here in Richmond. As many of you probably are unaware of what 7-OH is, I was also unaware of what it was just several months ago. 2 weeks ago, I dropped off one of my best friends at the airport to go to a detox facility in Utah, and then he's going to participate in a 60-day rehabilitation program. It's a dangerous drug. 7-OH is addictive. The withdrawal is terrible, and it's easy enough to get it at the local gas station, just like a pack of cigarettes. I'm in support of this bill.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. My name is Sam Cannon, and I fought in the Iraqi War from 2005 to 2006. I've lost a lot of servicemen and veterans to addiction, and 7-OH is just another product that's too easily accessible. And I just ask you to continue to protecting our veterans and our servicemen as we have protected you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, my name is Nathan Hodges. I'd like to say that I support 738 100%. 7-OH is a bad situation. Nobody deserves to be exposed to it, to go down those paths or those roads. Kratom in its organic form is extremely beneficial and helpful. I wouldn't be standing in front of you today with a shoulder that works properly if I hadn't had the benefits of it. These need to be separated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Michael Libator. I'm a retail store owner. I am not in favor for 7-OH. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Matthew Miles. I'm a person in long-term recovery. In 2016, I was in a Kratom study. Kratom saved my life. I'm a local Richmond business owner, house owner, member of society, and I am for this bill.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Caleb Painter. 9 years ago, I escaped addiction. Natural Kratom helped save my life. 7-OH is not Kratom. It's an imposter, and it's being sold on every street corner in this city. And to protect former recovering addicts, please support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Luke Purdy on behalf of the Virginia Society of Health System Pharmacists asks you to support this bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody here to speak in opposition to the bill? All right, Delegate Williams. In opposition? Yes. Okay, come forward.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I'm Dean Francis from Midlothian. Our son Cameron was severely addicted to kratom. The pain and suffering and hopelessness that we watched him endure over several years is something I would not wish on any family. While industry lobbyists attempt to deny and dismiss stories like Cameron's and thousands like it, there's no accident that the Navy and the Marine Corps have now prohibited kratom as of January 16th, joining in recent months the state of California, Connecticut, and other states that had already banned, and many more are. Having said that, neither Cameron or I are against people having access to kratom. You heard these gentlemen say that it helped them save their life. I don't doubt that for a moment. But the level of addiction that is occurring right now with kratom is unbelievable. The Coleman Institute of Addiction, right just a couple miles from here, now attests to the fact that 75% of all their intakes are for kratom addiction. The 738 that you have in front of you is right to ban 7-OH. Everything that you just heard was correct. But beyond that, this bill does nothing meaningful to alert consumers that kratom operates in the body like an opioid. It is true, kratom is a leaf, but it has two alkaloids, metragynine and 7-hydroxymetragynine that you're hearing about right now. But when you take it, part of it is converting in the liver to 7-hydroxymetragynine, the very thing that these men have just said is absolutely wrong. And it is stronger than morphine, and if you get addicted, you can face the same consequences that our son Cameron had that required a medical detox to be able to get him off. And after it, it took years to get his life back. And that story is very common, and it will be heard often next week. And so my request is this. My request is that you eliminate this bill because it's not protecting people from the problem with kratom. Kratom, again, let me just say it, is being sold, just like they said, at convenience stores, vape shops, gas stations, as a harmless plant-based supplement that is there to boost energy and mood. The fact that the industry lobbyists that are behind me are so in favor of this bill is because it's going to allow them to continue to sell kratom the way they do every single day. And so I'm asking you to take the 7-OH provision of this and just simply add it to HB 360, sponsored by Josh Cole. Josh's bill has the support of the Virginia Pharmacy Association, the other Virginia Pharmacy Association that just spoke here. It has the support of the business community. It has the support of all the addiction treatment centers throughout our state. It is strongly supported because it has real safety in place. All you do is you take the 7-OH language from this bill and you add it to 360, and now you have protected everyone. The industry, the people behind me, the American Kratom Association, is 1,000% against the bill HB 360 because it has a warning label that says this product may cause dependence and opioid-like addiction. They are against it because it'll move kratom behind the counters where it belongs so that people think before they start taking it like our son did. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so Delegate Williams, we've got a bill, it's not in this committee, it's in Ag, that does a lot of the same things we just heard about, House Bill 360. So do you want to have the last word here real quick?
Yep, I appreciate you guys listening because we can just use all of this testimony in other considerations. And I agree with what Dean said. Cole has a bill here. And, somebody recently told me you got to get your own bill. So I had this one and he had one I didn't even know about. So, happy to present it to you. Thank you so much.
We got raised by motion. Lay on the table. We can't incorporate it because it's in a different committee. So we just have to lay this one on the table.
Mr. Chair, I have a motion. I move that we would gently place this bill on the table and look to see what the House Bill 360 does and doesn't do. But I would move to gently table this one.
Second. All right, it's moved and seconded that we lay this bill on the table. Not a debatable or discussable motion, so I can't tell you that we're going to work sincerely to get this policy into this other bill. But if I could, that's what I would say. All right, the clerk will open the roll.
Thank you.
The clerk will close the roll. The bill is laid on the table by a vote of 6-2. Thank you, everyone who came to testify. Thank you, Delegate Williams, for bringing us some education on that topic. And I look forward to getting this policy into Virginia code in some way, shape, or form. All right, Delegate Keys-Gamarra.
Okay. Good morning. Anyway.
All right, we're picking up folks as we're like the last committee standing here. But go ahead, Delegate Keys-Gamarra. You've got a bill that has nothing to do with housing, but it is consumer protection.
Yes.
This is one that we haven't, it's a new topic that I don't think we've seen much here before. So go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, HB 122 aims to amend existing law to basically prohibit 12 listed toxic and hazardous ingredients in cosmetics. It excludes things that would fall under the regulation of FDA. And the 12 toxins and chemicals listed in the bill have been scientifically confirmed to pose a significant threat to public health and safety, not only in the Commonwealth, but throughout the country. I would look to the end of the bill where it's on page 11. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have probably done the line amendment first.
Second.
It's moved and second. We report a line amendment. As many as favor that motion will say aye. Those opposed, or what is the line amendment?
Okay. All right. And so.
Where's the line amendment?
Oh, I'm sorry. It is line 315.
Yep.
Introduced after. Basically, it says insert migrations from.
Okay. Where do we insert that? Somewhere?
Yes. I have a copy if somebody needs it.
Counsel, you want to help me out?
Mr. Chairman,
back,
on line 315, after Romanet 4, insert migrations from. So it says migrations from packaging.
Migrations from packaging. Okay, thank you.
Right. And the purpose, I think the importance of that is that it is not designed to cover something that was unintentional, right? Or as a result of packaging or traveling with it. It was, for example, no person shall, if you look at line 320, no person shall be in violation of this section for manufacturing, selling, delivering, or offering for sale this cosmetic product that was manufactured through a process intended to comply with the provisions of this section.
Gotcha.
And it also excludes unavoidable trace quantities of the ingredient. So I would appreciate the consideration of the committee and would ask that you report this bill.
Are there any questions from members of the subcommittee for the patron? Delegate Price.
Yes, thank you. I would ask the patron, is this akin to some of the changes that were made in Europe because of the gel fingernail polish and some of the hair extensions and things? Are those some of the same chemicals that you have?
So. I believe so. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That was a leading question.
I appreciate it.
All right. Anybody, any other questions from members of the subcommittee? It's a little bit outside my comfort zone.
Mr. Chair. You sure?
All right. Delegate, is there anyone, this is delegate to, I'm sorry. If we proceed with this bill, we'll incorporate House Bill 864 from Delegate Cousins. So that'll eliminate another one off our docket. Actually, why don't we go ahead and do that? Is there a motion to incorporate House Bill 864 into this bill? It's been moved and probably second. We incorporate 864 into House Bill 122. As many as fair that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that bill motion passes. So when we do a motion to report, if we do, that would be a substitute because we incorporated. All right, anybody here to speak in favor of the bill, please come forward. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the bill, please step forward.
Mr. Chair.
Nobody's in opposition. All right, Delegate Price.
Yes, I have a motion at the appropriate time.
Any further conversation from members of the subcommittee? All right, Delegate Price.
I move to report with substitute.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to report with substitute. As many as favor that motion will indicate their preference on the electronic voting board. Clerk will close the roll. Bill reports 8-1 with Delegate Blox. I'm concerned that you may not know enough about it yet, so he's throwing up a note of caution. I got you.
Thank you.
All right. Delegate Lopez. I think you're the next one to come in, although you sat in different places. I try to watch the order you come into the room.
So first off, I want to apologize to the other members of the caucus because I'm supposed to be downstairs chairing Labor and Commerce Subcommittee 2. It still has 8 more bills.
Fair enough.
So with that, hello, members of the committee and Mr. Chairman. I have HB 951. It does not have amendments. So
it's perfect.
So when addressing building and fire regulations, Mr. Chairman, the Board of Housing and Community Development has a responsibility to be transparent about their handling of recommendations for the safety of the Commonwealth and its residents. As it stands, Housing and Community Development may convene an ad hoc committee to provide advice on proposals to change building and fire safety regulations, but there is currently no explicit requirement for the proposals to be brought forth in front of the full board thereafter. Because of this, many of the proposals sent to these committees never get addressed or see a vote of the full board, often due to them receiving a mixed consensus or none at all by the impacted industry groups selected as committee representatives. In fact, one account noted that besides there being a lack of deliberation because of this process, just one no vote in the ad hoc committee is enough to halt safety code proposals from reaching the full board. This creates a lack of transparency around the board as a whole, allowing it to stifle the recommendations of industry stakeholders involved in the process and undermining both stakeholder and public confidence. Mr. Chairman, this bill updates the statute governing the Board of Housing and Community Development by clarifying how the board must handle recommendations from ad hoc committees convened to review proposed changes to statewide building and fire regulations. Specifically, it ensures the board evaluates and votes on all proposals brought forward by such committees, even if the committee did not reach full consensus. This is simply a clarification of the procedure within the existing regulatory framework, ensuring stakeholder input and confidence in the process and making it more functionally effective and predictable for communities and businesses. Mixed consensus or just one no vote should never get in the way of important safety proposals and for families. By requiring the board consideration of ad hoc committee proposals, including non-consensus recommendations, the bill ensures voices from across affected industries and stakeholders aren't sidelined. This fosters more inclusive policymaking and supports more rigorous review of proposed changes, ensuring that regulatory updates balance. There we go. I appreciated that. I will stop because I follow what CA Price tells me to do.
So, thank you, Delegate Lopez. It's interesting.
I did repeat myself twice in that speech. There you go.
You missed. We had an earlier bill where we heard that a lot of the problems, a lot of the frustration over the ability to adopt the energy code most recently comes to do with this process of the sort of the shadow veto of a lot of things that slows down the process. And so
that's exactly right.
It indicated a preference maybe from trying to address the process issue before we started to legislate the building code. So with that, is there anybody here to speak in opposition to this bill?
Sure.
All right, seeing none. Anybody here to speak in favor of the bill, please rise. I would note that we've got members of the environmental, the industry, all of them are in favor of this bill.
Outstanding.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill report. The clerk will open the roll.
Outstanding.
And again, I apologize a little bit to the folks who've been waiting to testify about this bill, but also I think you're happy with the outcome. This is a good process. The clerk will close the roll. This bill is on the uncontested docket 9-0.
Thank you,
Thank you,
members of the
Delegate
committee,
Lopez.
Mr. Chairman, and also thank you, members of my caucus.
All right, thank you. All right, Delegate Cole. You didn't tell us that you had a bill in ag on Kratom. That would have saved us some time.
Mr. Chair, yes, I do have a substitute.
All right, so you have a different bill. Let's talk about the bill you've got.
All right, so let's talk about the bill.
999. All right, there's a substitute. It's been moved and seconded. We adopt the substitute House Bill 999. As many as hear that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, the substitute is before us. Delegate Cole.
And just to explain the substitute briefly, the substitute limits the bill's application to a single industry, banking, and a single practice credit decisions rather than regulating artificial intelligence or automated systems across multiple sectors. We have the substitute before you. It's straightforward. It applies only to creditors and making decisions on applications for credit. It defines automated decision systems to include AI and machine learning-based processes used in that context. And it requires that when such a system is used, a human must review and approve the creditor's final action before it is taken. This codifies accountability in an increasingly automated world, and I hope it would be the privilege of the body to pass on to full committee if so.
All right, hold on, the substitute just popped live in mine. I see it's a little bit shorter. It's a lot shorter than the old bill. All right, anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the bill, please come forward. Take opposition first, then I'll take support. I was hoping there might not be any, but.
Dave Alba, representing the Virginia Mortgage Bankers. We're not really in opposition. I would like to say his staff was fantastic, and they got us this substitute earlier today. It's much, much better than it was. I think what the bankers like to have it limited to when credit is declined, you have to have a human being review it. Because you might want to have AI give people credit. So I had to get a loan. I got on my phone. I sent my driver's license. I sent some bank statements, and AI approved me in like 3 minutes, and I had a loan in my bank account in 1 day. So I don't think anybody's worried about that. What you're worried about is when someone gets denied, and so we'd like to have this bill limited to just the denial of credit.
All right, that's an interesting thought.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Matt Bruni with Virginia Bankers Association. Again, I very much appreciate the delegate and his staff and their work that they've had in bringing the substitute. I think it addressed a lot of the concerns that we raised, and we appreciate that. I think it's directionally heading in the right direction. We're still kind of absorbing and figuring out the implications of the substitute. So as Mr. Albo said, maybe focusing on adverse action, which the preceding code section talks about that they're amending, the bill amends, but still trying to get some feedback since we just had the substitute earlier today. But again, directionally, I think we're heading in the right direction. Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody here wishing to speak in support of the bill? So we did opposition/concern first. I'm looking at the bill, Delegate Cole, for an easy way to do what Delegate Albo was talking about, because I actually agree. I don't think that's your intent, right? I mean, to the extent the AI says yes, we're cool with that. But hey, if I was only turned down because of AI, we need a human to sort of back that up, right? And also to make sure the outcomes, frankly, aren't. We've seen artificial intelligence with facial recognition, other things. Sometimes there's some built-in bias to the algorithm, and it wouldn't reveal itself necessarily unless there was a human checking the declines. But at the same time, we wanted to stop going forward. So I'm a little hesitant to move this forward because of the potential unintended consequences at this moment. I want to give you would you like another week maybe to try and keep going with the bankers and folks?
If we have enough time.
Let's gotta go to approps? Oh, that's what we have it on for this week.
Maybe next Thursday is not too late.
All right. We can. So it's the committee's pleasure. You can report it with the understanding that votes may not stay green unless we can sort of get closer. But keep you guys. We've got some deadlines. We got to get to full, and then we got to get to approps, and then end approps. There's like several more opportunities. Stops along the way to try and get it right.
Move to report with all of that as a caution. Second.
All right. Moved and second. Just setting expectations. Yeah. All right. The clerk will open the roll. All I'm going to throw up a cautionary note too, just a couple, just so they don't think it was you being cranky, Terry, but just to slow it down. All right, the clerk will close the roll. Bill report 7-2 with substitute and with a recommendation to refer to appropriations, and we'll keep working on getting the language just
Mr. Chair,
right.
members of the committee.
All right, thank you guys. Delegate Schmidt, you asked to go last. Did you really mean that, or you just want to go later? You want to go now? Yeah. Okay, come on up.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. I appreciate it. We're in the midst of judicial interviews, but there's 30, so I just can't stay for all of them.
Okay.
So I appreciate also taking this bill up. I'm dealing with House Bill 1409.
That's right. We took 1415 by.
Oh, yes, sorry.
We already took that by for the day, so you're fine. We're 1409.
Yeah. Just speaking to 1409, we did submit some line item amendments to the staff, but I think after talking to more of the stakeholders and advocates, we don't want to admit those amendments. I've got some very similar amendments that are actually a little more specific to their needs, if that's possible.
So you've given staff some amendments which you don't want us to adopt. You have some new amendments which staff has not yet seen.
No. They're just
that you want us to adopt.
Very similar.
Okay. So I know you have a witness who's here to testify about this bill that drove in to do this today. So what we can do is we can talk about the bill, we can take testimony on the bill, but we're going to have to take it by. In this committee, just because of the volume we have, we don't sort of workshop the bills live like that. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Courts and stuff where we have meetings more often, and we can have the luxury of doing that.
I operate at the pleasure of the committee.
But I also know that you brought some folks who are in Richmond to testify on this particular bill, so I don't want to just push you off till next week right now. So why don't you go ahead and present the bill?
We'll go with
talk about the amendments, and we'll hear some testimony, and then we can decide what to do with it later.
We'll go with the bill as is, as introduced, because that'll help sort of talk through what we're getting at, and also what we've learned as far as what's going on in the courts, both state courts and federal courts. So House Bill 1409 is trying to address the growing trend of junk fees, or more appropriately, passing off what I think a lot of people feel and what is written in statute and what the courts are putting out there in opinions, that we're trying to address some of the obligations of landlords that are being passed off to tenants. And a lot of these deal with general maintenance, but most importantly, there's a section of the code that deals with fit premises, right? Habitability and fitness of the premises. So that's really what we were looking at. And in my day job and in my law practice, when I was in private practice, I dealt with this a lot. And it's a growing concern. Basically, landlords, particularly larger complexes, will basically put into the lease that the tenants are responsible for all sorts of maintenance, whether it's utilities, whether it's all kinds of trash collection, fees, different things for garbage collection, things like that. But it's gone to the point where what I've seen in my own practice is if the tenants call for repairs, like they call an electrician or plumber, that sometimes the landlord will say, well, we contract with a third party and you're responsible. And our code right now allows for tenants and landlords to, in theory, bargain on equal grounds, or at least the law sort of puts them on equal grounds and says, hey, you can bargain and negotiate to have the tenant cover these maintenance, these services, all these things that have to do with the fitness and the habitability of the apartment or of the house. And so what we're hoping to accomplish is be in a little more alignment with where the courts are going with these sort of fee shifts, but also we're trying to balance the scales a little bit more because, to be honest, it's not a negotiation between the tenant and landlord. I mean, these are take it or leave it. We euphemistically call those adhesion contracts. And so what we're trying to do is balance those a little bit more and say that for these particular areas that landlords are not allowed to push all this maintenance and all these costs off onto the tenants.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
And we've got
So, again, as I understand it, right, so this, and the way you get at that is you sort of prohibit those provisions in any real estate contract that's subject to the Virginia Residential Landlord Tenant Act, which is, and this isn't your fault, I mean, I don't know about, I think it was about 10, maybe 12 years ago, we decided to put everything under the Virginia Landlord Tenant Act. We used to have exceptions. It used to only apply to folks that own more than 10, and I think more than 4 in certain localities and things like that.
Right.
So now, and this is something I struggle with, is sometimes we carve out small landlords, but generally speaking, the VRLTA applies to everybody.
Correct.
All right. You have some witnesses that want to come testify on this, Bill?
Correct.
Ms.
Yes,
Kelly?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you, Chair Simon, and to the committee. My name is Christy Kelly. I am a resident of Vienna, Virginia. I'm on the board of Housing Opportunities Made Equal, the Legal Aid Justice Center. I'm a former board member of the Virginia Poverty Law Center and a former legal aid lawyer. And the purpose of this bill is about affordability, and it is not anything groundbreaking. This is already the law if you're in court. If you're in federal court, if you're in the Court of Appeals, this is already the law. The landlords have obligations in the Virginia Residential Landlord Tenant Act in Section 1220, but they are trying to pass it off on tenants. And so the purpose of this bill is to clarify to landlords that you cannot do this because they're trying to say it's just not that clear. I deal with their lawyers all the time in cases, and their lawyers, just today I was on a call with them, they're like, oh, I hope that bill gets through so my client will finally listen to me. And so this is really just clarifying the current law. And I just want to talk about 2 situations that I think highlight this. The first is a case that I was involved in Alexandria Federal Court about 1.5 years ago. I was referred a case from Housing Opportunities Made Equal, a bunch of low-income tenants who had free internet through the county for their children to go to school and have access to study, were forced by their landlord, a place they've been living at a long time. It was Kushner-owned property out of Maryland, and they own probably like 10 properties in Virginia, thousands of units, and they required them to start paying $90 a month for access to internet that they already had for free or for $10. And they also gave them 1 cable box. And it turned out in discovery that that landlord was able to bundle the service for $25 or $30, I think. And then in email correspondence, they went back and forth, like, you know, most landlords like take like a $20 profit, and they were like, we're going to charge $90. So they were profiting over $60 a month off these tenants, and you multiply that by 500 units in one property, and then you multiply that by the dozens of properties they own in Virginia, and you're gouging people in Virginia. And it is these out-of-state landlords that are coming in here and taking advantage of people in the Commonwealth. A lot of Virginia lawyers, in response to Court of Appeals decisions and Virginia properties, have stopped charging some of these charges, like the pest control fee or other things. Because the pest control fee is another case I have in the Richmond Federal Courthouse that is just resolved with a Georgia landlord who owns 14, 15 properties. A majority of them are owned by a Utah venture capital firm, and they were charging tenants for the privilege of walking to a dumpster to throw trash away on a monthly basis. They were charging tenants for spraying the outside with pest control services, despite telling them in the lease these are services provided to their dwelling unit.
Gotcha.
And so there's all these profit mechanisms, and in discovery we learned that they actually were profiting hundreds of thousands of dollars on these fees. They weren't just assessing the cost of the utilities to tenants, they were profiting from it.
Got it.
And so this
thank
is
you.
part of the affordability crisis, and I thank you for letting me
I understand. I have a real quick question. So are you winning these cases?
So we've won motions to dismiss in all the cases, and then they miraculously settle. In the one case I had, I mean, I'm happy to keep doing it, but it's not going to solve the problem, you know. And, you know, the one case I have, it settled on a class basis. We have not filed the final paperwork yet, so I'm still bound by a confidential MOU. But a lot of people are gonna, well, I can't really say anything, I don't want to get in trouble.
Gotcha. Final question then, would having a class action remedy, class action procedure here in Virginia help with like Virginia landlords and Virginia tenants?
A lot of the Virginia landlords are better because they have people who know the law in Virginia, like the court decisions.
But it would still help, right?
But there's still a lot of bad actors,
Okay.
and so there's plenty of work to be done. But
right, thank
yeah,
you.
so I do think that's part of the remedy, but not the whole remedy. And I think this
I'm not suggesting it was, I didn't mean that in lieu of the bill. I understand your answer now. You thought I was going to try and set you up so we don't need this, but
yeah,
gotcha.
no, I think this is
All
a
right.
really important bill, and
All
I
right.
think it will help a lot of people.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. All right. I gave you a little bit of latitude because you drove down from Northern Virginia. Those are the regulars, if you could sort of, I don't want anybody to learn from her bad example.
Yes, good evening. Thank you to the delegate for bringing the bill. Thank you to the committee for listening to this. Victoria Horak, Legal Aid Justice Center, echo a lot of these comments. I do think there are still some bad actors even down in Central Virginia where I am. We're still seeing valet trash fees at definitely not luxury apartments. I don't know what they're charging that for. Pest control fees, which people pay routinely, even though there are still roaches in the building. And these are really a burden to the low-income tenants that legal aids represent. So
Thank
we
you.
support the bill.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Christy Mara with the Virginia Poverty Law Center, and we want to thank the delegate for bringing this. We, of course, agree with everything that's previously been said, and I just want to note that this really is a fairness issue, as Ms. Kelly pointed out. It's also a transparency issue. These are fees that tenants don't learn about until they're signing the lease.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's increasing the rent, sometimes by hundreds of dollars a month, but it's too late for them to find anywhere more affordable to live. So this is a fairness bill and an affordability bill.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee. Sheila Hurley-Hennessy with the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy. We also support the bill for all the reasons previously mentioned. And on an individual note, one of our regular volunteers who's been a part of Virginia Interfaith for 20 years came to me this past fall about these kind of fees that were appearing in her lease for the first time. And she said, "Can we do anything about this in the legislature?" I said, I think I've heard rumors. So on a personal call as well as an organizational front, we support this bill, as do the 20 organizations in the Allies for Housing Action. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody here wishing to speak in opposition to the bill?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Erin Corman with the Realtors. I have not seen the substitute, so I'm just going to.
There is no substitute yet. We have some phantom amendments, which you're going to get to.
I have not seen any amendments, phantom or otherwise. So I'm just going to testify on what's online.
Understood. That's what we have before us at the moment.
And I understand that there are bad actors out there, but the changes that the version online makes are so sweeping. I mean, this provision was put into the code to allow tenants and landlords to negotiate things to lower their rent. So I can't testify on behalf of bad actors, but tenants that can do their own maintenance, that are contractors, that can do their own landscaping and get a discount in their rent for that, that was the intent of this provision. And so to completely strike it out of the code takes away the ability for a landlord and a tenant to do that. Okay, the language says may agree in writing, and I understand, again, bad actors, I get it, but this is taking away the ability for the good actors and the tenants to come to a deal that's going to work to benefit that tenant.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Bisma Ahmed with the Apartment and Office Building Association, Virginia Apartment Management Association. Definitely appreciate the delegate and his staff, for working with us. And we've had extensive conversations and still in the works. We haven't seen any changes to the bill that's online right now, but echo some of the same comments. Also, there are several fee bills that we're still working on, especially Delegate Bennett Parker's, which is pretty encompassing, and we're trying to get there. So this one is very sweeping, and we've heard from our members if we're going to outlaw any fees that are, especially practical fees, they're just going to go into higher rents, which is not what we want. Or they're going to say, hey, let's just not offer this service. Also what we don't want. Thank you so much.
All right, Randy. I'm sorry. Randy's over there.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Ray Lemire, President of Broadband Association of Virginia.
As the bill was introduced, we were opposed. I do see online amendments addressing these. So if this is still going to be the situation, we're still going forward. Eventually, this bill as drafted would be in conflict with some of the initiatives proposed by DHCD to use our non-deployment BEAD funds. So again, I appreciate the delegate for working with us on this.
All right, thank you. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to move to take this bill by for the week again, and hopefully we can get those similar amendments to council and we'll get this.
We have them now, and to address the broadband issue and some other stuff, so we can send those over and get it by.
Okay.
That's
all right.
So yeah, and I appreciate y'all working with us. I would just last statement to say this bill doesn't prohibit landlords and tenants from entering into separate agreements, policies, different contracts to do maintenance and stuff like that. What we want to make sure is that these are covered, and that the tenants have a little bit more footing to negotiate. Not baked into the lease, but truly negotiated.
As a separate agreement or something. Okay. All right. Motion to go by for the day.
Second.
Moved and seconded to go by for the day. Now, we're not going to take testimony again this next time we hear it. We're just going to fine tune it if it's tunable and then decide what we do with it.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank you. All right. Delegate Martinez, and then Mr. Big Chairman has some bills too. Delegate Martinez, you have a bill about volume control?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to start off with one of the intent of the bill.
All right, how about the substitute? Do you have a substitute?
Yes, I want to start. Yes, I want to start by thanking members of the streaming and entertainment industry for working with me on this substitute.
All right, is there a motion on the substitute? It's been moved second to adopt the substitute. Make sure that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is before us. Delegate Martinez.
The amendment removes private right of action and leaves it to the Office of the Attorney General to enforce it and gives the operator cure period to resolve any infractions before penalties begin.
Okay.
So
briefly,
what I wanted to start out with is many of us have sat there late in the evening watching TV. Next thing you know, a commercial comes up and all you hear is somebody yelling, "Turn the TV down." This bill addresses that. HB 518 would stipulate that the audio from advertisements and video streaming services must be at the same level of the programming that the viewer is watching. Many people are affected by loud ads, especially those with sensory or auditory disabilities, individuals with hearing sensitivities, or audio processing disorders that can experience discomfort, stress, and even pain when sudden loud sounds occur. This includes people with autism, PTSD, tinnitus, or sensory processing differences. Older adults with hearing loss often raise the volume to hear content, only to be startled or overwhelmed when ads jump in at a higher volume. Current rules and laws don't cover streaming, though the Federal Commercial Advertisement Loudness Mitigation Act, called CALM Act, successfully ended this issue for television broadcast and cable ads by requiring commercial volumes to match the content.
Martinez, are you almost through? You almost done?
Yes,
okay.
Almost. However, the federal law does not apply to streaming services, and HB 15 fills that gap for residents who mostly want to watch content online. I will go ahead and forego the rest of I think that's a good explanation.
I think we understand what it does. All right. And it's been done in other states, and it's all good stuff. All right. Is there anybody here speaking opposition to the bill? All right. Seeing no one in opposition to the bill, anyone who wants to speak in favor, please, very, very briefly, if you want to say something, or you can just raise your hands. You guys worked with the patron, addressed your concerns. They're all addressed in the substitute, and you're good to go. All right, Ms. Beadnell, you are online to speak in favor. Again, keeping in mind that we're very much inclined to support this bill.
Lucy Beadnell, the Arc of Northern Virginia. Thank you in advance for your support. Not much else for me to say, but as a woman wearing hearing aids right now, you're going to save me a lot of physical pain if this bill passes, along with our autism community. Thanks so much.
Thank you for waiting so long to get your testimony, and I appreciate you being there and advocating. All right. It's been moved, the report, seconded by Delegate Franklin with substitute. Clerk will open the roll. Members will cast their votes. Clerk will close the roll. Bill reports 9-0. All right. Thank you, Delegate Martinez. Delegate Krizak, Mr. Chairman, Big Chairman, Uber Chairman.
Uber Chair.
You can do it from wherever you like, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have two bills here, and they're both in the Manufactured Home Lot Rental Act disclosure. The first one is House Bill 374, and rather than read my 20-minute speech, I'm going to do, since it's late.
Do you have a substitute also, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, I've got a substitute. Thank you.
Moved and second to adopt the substitute. As many as for that motion will say aye. Those opposed, the substitute is before us. Delegate Chairman Krizik.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what I'd like to do is just give you a quick rundown on the positives and negatives of this bill. But essentially what we're trying to do is this is all about affordability and transparency for the residents. It would require full itemization on the front end of the lease, which would reduce fees, surprise fees. It's the manufactured home residents are, they're uniquely vulnerable because they can't move their homes. And so this would also have clearer contracts, which really matter more than in typical rentals. There's an incentive to maintain safe conditions, prohibiting rent increases when there's unresolved zoning, building, or habitability violations. So it wouldn't be a rent control or any kind of freezing of rents, only while there's unresolved violations that would help to incentivize, I think, the owners to fix those problems. And it ties the rent increases to basic compliance with health and safety. Consumer protection is also enforced in here. It treats the violations as consumer protection violations, which adds more enforcement tools than already exist. And it really does a better statewide data and oversight. It's got the registration, and so we can figure out how many communities exist and the ownership patterns and where the infrastructure safety issues are concentrated. And it's useful for both regulation and housing policy planning. And then there's predictability for the residents on fixed incomes. So it's there's a lot going on in it, but we could have gone a lot further. As you know, Mr. Chairman, we talked about a rewrite of the whole section of the whole code of Manufactured Home Lot Rental Act. Rather than do that, what we try to do is just do the stuff that's really, really important now. And this doesn't really change the business model of the manufactured home owners, of the park owners. It just sets a floor for transparency. I think that's really the best way to look at this bill.
All right. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the bill with concerns about the bill, please come forward. I know it's a little bit not what we're used to, but I think sometimes we can minimize the need for testimony if we can focus the issues here.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Randy Grumbine, representing the Virginia Manufactured and Modular Housing Association. I would ask, is there a category for soft opposition? Because that's where we're at. We made significant headway with the delegate and with the other stakeholders, and we're very appreciative of that. The one issue that we still have remaining is removing the ability for a landlord to ever discontinue to not non-renew a lease for somebody into perpetuity. And so that for that issue, we are a soft oppose on the bill. There are a couple other tweaks that we can work on as the bill moves through the process.
All right. So your biggest concern is that there's every non-renewal would have to be for cause.
Correct.
And there's no sort of at will, like it's my property, I'm tired of having you on it, ever. And that's the focus of your concern.
Yeah, I refer to it as the bad apple situation, but yes.
Okay.
Luke Purdy on behalf of Manufactured Housing Communities of Virginia. We identify our comments with those just previously shared.
All right. All right. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of the bill, if you could sort of focus your comments on this particular issue, that would be fantastic. Or be just generally supportive. But
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We don't need a line by line, I guess is what I'm saying.
I promise to only talk about what Mr. Grumbine talked about. Right. Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, Daniel Rezai, Virginia Poverty Law Center. One of the big things that I think goes missing when we say we will now have good cause non-renewal is homes aren't mobile. They don't go anywhere. And we are seeing that localities are discontinuing the use of manufactured housing communities as a zoning opportunity for development. So if someone gets I just don't want to rent to you anymore notice without good cause, they can't move their largest asset, They have to abandon their largest asset, and then they are another pull on your home affordability because you have competition for rental units that a homeowner was not competing with conventional renters, because now having to have good cause where they violated a lease term during the lease term, received notice that they violated it, and the landlords still keep all of their other remedies for a bad actor tenant. They commit a crime, they can be evicted right then and there because of incorporation. They can be kicked out of the community during their lease term for all the reasons they could be today. It's just to non-renew them, they would have had to have been able to be evicted during the lease term. Otherwise, they get to stay, then their lot rent can go up, and life continues to move forward, and the business operates and functions like it does today.
All right, thank you. All right, anybody else want to speak in favor of the bill? Again, we don't need to repeat all that, but,
Jennifer Vaney, Fairfax County, we support.
okay, thank you, that was perfect.
Victoria Horak, Legal Aid Justice Center. We represent tenants throughout northern and central Virginia who live in manufactured home parks. Last night, I was drafting up notes on this bill, and at that moment, I had a client call me. He's lived in a park in Louisa County since 2011, and he just got a non-renewal notice for no reason. He's never been late on the rent. He's never been taken to court for eviction, even in the past, and definitely not now. And he's facing having to be out of his home in March. He has 5 children, and he doesn't have the money to go anywhere, and his biggest asset is probably something that will be abandoned.
Gotcha,
So,
thank you.
for that reason, we support the bill.
Sheila with the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy. We also support the bill, as do the 20 odd organizations in the Allies for Housing Action. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking for all of them at once, I appreciate that.
Good evening, Isabel McLean with the Virginia Housing Alliance, and we support the bill.
Thank you. All right, we've heard opposition, we've heard support. We are not building code officials. We don't need 100% consensus all the time, so sometimes things aren't perfect. We know we try to get everybody on board, but occasionally there's still some outstanding issues. So, is there a motion? Which still needs to go to appropriations, should it pass. Second. So move, seconded to report and refer to appropriations. Clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. Bill reports by a vote of 6-3. Thank you, Delegate Krizek. You have one more.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. So the first bill really protected the residents while they're living in the community. This bill, 375, protects residents when ownership of that community changes. And this is really about preserving affordable housing stock and it's about housing preservation and displacement prevention. So manufactured home residents have lower median incomes than other homeowners, which can make them extremely vulnerable to homelessness if their community closes. You heard also the difficulties they have even trying to be able to move their mobile home and find another park. That's really impossible. So this puts the onus on the community to create a resident entity. So they would have to create this resident entity, and they'd have to have over 50% of the residents would have to participate. And then once they have that resident entity, then the onus shifts over, if you will, to the park owner. And what the park owner would have to do if they wanted to sell is if they've got a contract with somebody else, they would then come to the resident entity and let them know that they would provide this notice to them, and then they would have this right of first refusal. And there's a lot of moving parts, not moving parts, but a lot of days and time. But basically, this gives enough time to make this happen, because they're going to have to find the money, they're going to have to find partners. They can use the county or the city, they can use nonprofits, they can use any kind of combination thereof. So I think this is a great right of first refusal legislation that will really protect these parks and make it let the tenants be able to continue to live there, and the owners get the amount of money that they were going to get when whoever they were going to sell to in the first place, and without an onerous, undue burden on them and not too long. And I think we've worked hard with the folks over there that represent the parks, and I want to thank them for all the work they did. I think we've got a good product here for you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Delegate Krizek. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to this bill or with concerns they want to raise about this particular bill? Mr. Greenway, come on. No? All right, anybody wish to speak in support?
Is there a category for soft support?
Soft support, yes, there is.
Mr. Chair, Randy Grumbine, representing the Virginia Manufactured Modular Housing Association. This bill, we made even more substantial headway than we did on the other bill, and for that we are appreciative. And so, yes, we are in support of the final product that we got there, and I thought there was something else to say, but I forgot, so.
All right, so hold on one second. Can we get a motion on the substitute? Move the substitute. It's been moved and seconded. We adopt the substitute. Make sure the motion will say aye. Aye. All right. Those opposed? All right, the motion carries. The substitute before us. Before we go on with testimony, is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the bill? All right. Seeing none. Those of you that are in favor of the bill, please step forward. All right. Committee operates by motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Mary Payton, you're online. Do you want to go ahead and speak in support of this bill?
Yes, I will. I'm Mary Payton. I'm the Housing Committee Chair of the Fairfax NAHCP. I've worked with the mobile home communities in Fairfax County for about 6 years. We have 5 communities with about 1,700 families. A few years ago, the residents tried to purchase a mobile home park with the backing of the county, and we failed. This bill is to correct that penalty clause so that we have a fair chance, the mobile homeowners have a fair chance of buying their mobile home. That would give them the stability of their land tenure that they need to really be able to prosper and maintain their community here. So we totally support this bill, and we hope you can pass it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And from the regulars, if you want to step forward, state your name and your support, or just raise your thumbs. Go ahead, Luke.
Luke Purdy, Manufactured Housing Communities of Virginia, but we like the substitute.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy and Allies for Housing Action both support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Isabel McLean from Virginia Housing Alliance, and we greatly support the bill and thank the patron.
Thank you.
Victoria Horak, Legal Aid Justice Center, we support the bill.
Christy Mara, Virginia Poverty Law Center, we support the bill.
Jennifer Vaney, Fairfax County, we support the bill.
Look at that. A whole streak of perfect testimonies to end the night. I appreciate that. All right. Is there a motion?
Move to report with substitute. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to report with substitute. Clerk will open the roll. Thank the big chairman for his hard work on achieving consensus on this bill. I know this has been a long process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. The clerk will close the roll. The bill reports by a vote of 7 to Wiley. All right. One more item before we go. We have to move to carry over House Bill 314 to 2027 pursuant to Rule 22 at the request of the patron.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we carry over House Bill 314 to 2027. As many in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. That completes our docket. The committee will rise. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not done. Betsy has bills.
Just to get them over with.
Delegate Carr, I apologize. I was all excited.
Me too.
Delegate Carr, you got 2 bills.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Do you care which one first?
No.
All right. First one, a number of you have probably seen before. This is House Bill 1042, zoning for housing, and I believe there are amendments which add Alexandria to the pilot program, clarify the affordability language, and then also add an enactment clause guiding receipt of applications.
All right, is there a motion? Moved and seconded that we adopt the amendments. As many in favor of that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right. Delegate Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HB
Briefly.
1042 implements a recommendation from the 2021 JLARC study on affordable housing. It will provide additional state funding to localities that volunteer modify their zoning ordinances to facilitate more affordable housing.
All right. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the bill? Please come forward. All right. Seeing none. Anybody in favor? Raise your hands. All right. Can we operate by motion?
Move to report as amended.
Move to report and report to appropriations properly seconded. The clerk will open the roll. And Delegate Carr, you want to vote for your bill?
Yes, I sure do.
All right.
Thank you.
Bill reports 9-0. Delegate Carr, you have a second bill.
Thank you. This is even a lot shorter. HB 1043. There's an amendment that clarifies the intent of the bill.
Let's move the amendment. It's moved and properly second we adopt the amendment as made. Favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed? All right, the bill is amended is before us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HB 1043 requires the Department of Housing and Community Development to take no longer than 75 days to review, act on, and notify applicants of the Affordable and Special Needs Housing Program and the Housing Trust Fund Homeless Reduction Grant Programs. The previous administration was not notifying applicants in a timely fashion, leaving housing producers and leaders waiting with their finances in flux to learn whether they had a project on the horizon or not. I believe several groups, including the Home Builders and Virginia Housing Alliance, are here to speak to the bill.
All right, is there anyone in opposition to the bill? Seeing none, anybody in favor, please stand up. Wow, so all the advocates are for this one. All right, anybody want to speak to mess this up? All right, seeing none. There's no letter on this one? All right, is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded the bill report as amended. The clerk will open the roll. Delegate Carr strategically wanted to be very last. Less scrutiny. Clerk will close the roll. This bill reports 9-0. With that,
Thank
that
you,
completes
Mr.
our
Chairman.
work for this long day. We still have a bunch of bills left for next week, but for now, the committee will rise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.